going? Do we have a number without integrating? What does the grade 5 genius inside you say? Yes? It is not root 2, unfortunately. Yes?
So that's a circle, right?
Yes, it is a circle, indeed.
So then, if you just find the circumference,
Yeah.
and then divide it by 4 because pi by 2 goes to only the first quadrant.
Yes, exactly.
And then you know the radius is 1.
Yeah, so the radius here is 1.
So it's like 2 pi r. 2 pi r over 4.
Yeah, so we've got 2 pi over 4, so we should get pi by 2. Yeah, right, so grade 5 would say, oh, it's got circumference, 4 centimeters, and then we're taking a quarter of it, so we get 1 centimeter. And then that kid would get like a candy or something. Yeah.
Sorry, so the question, how do we know it's a circle?
Right, because this is the parametric equation of a circle. Another way to but like, why do we know that other than memorizing it? We add up the squares of these guys. Right, so x squared plus y squared is 1. So we're always distance 1 from the origin. Right, we're always distance 1 from the origin. Okay, so now let's do it the integration way, right? So we'll integrate and see what we get. God willing, it'll be pi by 2. Okay, we take our derivative of the x coordinate and square it. Take the derivative of the y coordinate and square it. Here, okay, which winds up being the integral of 1. Okay, and when we integrate 1 from 0 to pi by 2, we get pi by 2. It's really, really super duper important in mathematics to check your answers somehow, right? It's so easy to make mistakes. Everything looks kind of the same. So when we can come up with 2 ways of calculating the same thing, right? The grade 5 approach, the second-year university approach, that's awesome, that's great. It's like grade 5 and grade 14. But yeah, so this calculation with the arc length formula matches our intuition, and that's super duper important. Yes?
Why is it negative sign?
Derivative of cos.
Oh,
Right, derivative of cos negative sine. Sine means cos. Good, good, these are important things. Thoughts here, final thoughts, conclusions? Okay, so in our last couple minutes, I want to sort of say where we're going to head in the next 2 hours of lecture. We've got more material this week. So we've sort of, in our textbook, we've got to the calculus of parametric equations. We just finished the arc length of a parametric curve. Okay, so there's our formula there. If you want some more justification and explanation, it's the book, but this is sort of our fundamental formula for arc length. Okay. This material on surface area, please ignore the bit about surface area. We're going to come back around to it much later in the course. I don't like this formula because I've never used it in my professional life. I don't know why you would. So this is like too weird and special. Okay, so we're now going to head into the land of polar coordinates. And before people pack up, I want to tell you a little bit about polar coordinates and then do like a silly exercise. Okay, so polar coordinates are our first example of a new coordinate system. So since grade 9, you've been working with the Cartesian coordinates, right? These guys. Right, where you say that a point lives at x, y, and you measure on the x-axis and you measure on the y-axis. And that gives you a position in space. Right? This was invented by Glynn-Adey, so we call it these Cartesian coordinates. We're going to play around a fair bit with an alternative coordinate system, which looks like this, where you define something to be the polar axis. So this axis is called the polar axis. Okay, and to specify a point in polar coordinates, we measure the angle relative to that polar axis, and then we measure the length that you have to travel. Okay, so that's a theta at r. This is a very different coordinate system than the one we're used to. This one's very good for specifying circles, right? So in this coordinate system, we say x squared plus y squared is 1. In this coordinate system, we can specify a circle by just saying that it always has the same radius. So we're gonna like do a deep dive next lecture on this notion of polar coordinates. We're gonna talk about converting them to something. Yes?
For the quiz, are we gonna be testing on like hyperbolic functions?
So this silly exercise I want you to do. So pack up your stuff, get all your stuff in your bag, and then stand up where you are. So pack up all your stuff, get ready to go, put it in the bag. But don't rush off yet. Stay standing where you are. Put all your stuff in the bag and then stay where you are. Well, I can see some people coming in. They can join. Those people can join in our silly exercise. Okay, is almost everyone sitting? Up. We all need to be standing for this. So, in your Cartesian perspective, right, you look at the room is shaped like this, yeah? big square box. Now, polar coordinates are where you have some kind of rotating frame of reference. So polar coordinates are usually used for designing either microphones or radar systems. So in radar, what you do is you turn around and you measure the distance to targets that are moving, right? So radar, you send out signals and measure the distance. So I want everyone to turn around and go, boop, 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 and look at the wall. Boop, 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 boop. Really, come on, do it. Turn, boop, 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 boop. And look at the distance of the wall. You are now measuring, really turn around, you're still staring at me. Boop, 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 boop. You're now measuring the distance of the wall in polar coordinates, okay? So you've got a rotating frame of reference, and you're measuring these radii here. Thank you very much, folks. So that it's like, so yeah, you need to know differential difference, substitution, I forgot I have to turn this off.